Alright, what's up everybody, Hoang Zero here, and you may notice that the video format is a little bit different than normal. And so the reason why that is because pretty sure at this point I have just like undiagnosed ADHD, and I wanted to change up the way I did videos because it just sounded more fun to me that way. So we're finally making content again, hooray, and for this deck profile we are doing the Crossheart deck profile from EX6. Or rather, EX6 for BT 2.5. And so we're doing this. I like to call it Yu-Gi-Oh style because like I topped with so and so deck in Yu-Gi-Oh and they like lay it all out and everything like that. That's at least where I got it from. But I just picked up most of my cards, waiting on a couple of things. But one of the decks I was personally most excited for to play was definitely Crossheart. Crossheart was a deck that didn't do super well in Asia. But I think BT20 or 2.5 gave it a really significant buff that didn't exist previously, and it actually performed pretty well for one of the events. There was a list that went 8-1 for Crossheart, and so this list is more or less based on that list, which you could be like, Hoang copied a list, and like, yeah, true, I did base this off that list. That went 8-1. It was, I think it was like Infinity Cup, I think it was what it was called. But the list was very good. It was very impressive. And I want to bring that knowledge to the English players, right? Like, I don't want to gatekeep anything. So, like, you can say it all you want, but, like, it's a good list, right? With some minor changes. And also, while I, have my webcam open, I just picked up Justy ults, and they look so good. Granted, I only have one of each, but, like, I'm working on getting the others, and they look good. But that aside, right? So, for obvious reasons, we play the 4 Pikmon. So this Pikmon, why this is significantly better over the other Pikmon is because of the fact that it loads a Crossheart underneath your Tamer. A lot of your Digimon have an effect that interacts with evolving from underneath your Tamers now. That's like kind of like the new style of both Crossheart as well as Blue Flare. So as a result, this Pikmon synergizes better with the EX6 Shoutmon style of gameplay, because your Raptor Sparrow and your Omni Shout can evolve for free using those effects. And then moving on, I've never done one of these before, so like bear in mind it'll probably get better as we go along. But growing pains, right? We play 4 of the Shoutmon, we play 4 Sparrow. And then we play 1 Uko. I'll just lay it like that. Keep it a mystery, right? I don't know if that's any better or not, but I say Levy, right? Okay, so Shoutmon, Sparrow, and the Uko, right? This is pretty self-explanatory. I think the biggest weakness of this deck is the way the damage mapping of it. So realistically speaking, you're probably like Evo Rookie, play Tamer to like setup or whatever, and then you like swing chip on Rookie, play another setup or like evolve or like whatever, and then you're probably getting like another chip on another Rookie at some point in the game. So you're probably chipping them to like 3, and then you chip them to 3, and you make EX6, and then EX6 swings for 2. They go to 1 security, and then you like Meteor Rock Soul for another 2. They go to 0, and then like, oh well, you didn't actually end the game. So a little bit awkward because of that. So we play 4 of the rookies because like consistency. This lets you evolve into Raptor Sparrow for free. This not only gets you Tamers, but also is like a rush source. It lets you go Omni Shout. Like, it's just, they're good consistency boosters. Uko, the purpose of Uko is to try and get an additional damage that possibly swings the damage mapping in your favor. It's a rookie, it's a consistency booster. It kind of just like fills that niche slot. I consider trying to fit in 2, but like, don't want to cut down on too many of your Crossheart pieces for obvious reasons, because then you're gonna have struggle like actually getting into your EX6. Sparrowmon's a little bit awkward in the sense that like it has collision and heritable, so like when you evolve into Raptor Sparrow, if they have a body on board, they have to block with it. So sometimes the body is bigger than your Raptor Sparrow, which then results in you not being able to actually get the chip off, because then they have to block you. So that's actually a little bit awkward, I'm not gonna lie. And so in situations like that, you're arguably better off just evolving the Raptor Sparrow, unless you're willing to give up that chip and then you just want that free Evo, because like 2 cost Evo versus like 0 cost Evo, like for obvious reasons, right? So very much so, you have to be aware of like whether you can afford to give up that chip. So yeah, that's the rookie lineup. And then Shoutmon, hitting Tamer is really good. It does not hit the 4-cost Black Nene, unfortunately, because it's Crossheart specifically. That Nene is I believe, Twilight Army. But nonetheless, it's still good if you hit any of your other Crosshair Tamers, and it's just a good consistency booster, giving Rush to your Omni Shout if you need it, as well as just letting you warp into it for 0. So when you're playing against like Psychmon and Psychmon clones like Solarmon, Otama, etc., you can slam the Shout, and then that warps into Omni Shout, and then that pops like 2 bodies potentially, like 2 rookies. So they have like double Psych or double Otama, and you can just pop it. And oftentimes, because of how Crossheart is set up, you can usually keep turn, and then you like play off of that. So it's pretty good, actually. Okay. And then our level 4 lineup, we have 4 Raptor Sparrow and 3 Shooting Star. A lot of lists actually end up playing 4 Shooting Star, but once you find like the first Shooting Star, you're generally fine for the rest of the game, and then like you'll probably draw into the second one pretty shortly after. So I felt like 3 was enough for me, but the list that won the not one, but the list that won 8 and 1, they didn't run Uko, they instead ran a 4th Shooting Star, which I think is totally valid consistency, right? Because like if you don't see the Shooting Star, then like your EX6 feels a lot worse. So definitely one of those like player preference sort of things. I wanted to try and fix my damage mapping issue with / consistency buff with the Uko, but if you want, you know, more consistent EX6 plays, then like Shooting Star. And for Raptor Sparrow, it's just like a top 3 dig. It's an important combo piece for your EX6. Like it's consistency boosting in a deck where you need multiple pieces, so it just kind of makes sense, I feel like. Okay. And then for our level 5s, we play 4 Omni Shout, 3 Jaeger Dorulu, and then we play 3 of the Atler Ballista. Let me just like move it up a little bit so it looks a little bit more presentable. So initially when I was testing Omni Shout, when I first read Omni Shout, I was like, why do people play this at 4? The effect itself is actually kind of like whatever. But in testing, not only is this effect actually pretty good, because it's like one of your best ways to clear like those annoying Psychmon floodgates and stuff like that, but also you can use the rush is really important, because like sometimes you'll get like an EX6 stack, and you'll be missing literally you'll have everything except the Omni Shout, and if you don't have the Omni Shout, it's literally like a dead 6 basically. Like it's just like sitting there, right? And so because of that, I realized just how important it is to like make sure you have the Omni Shout in your stack. So I definitely think 4 is mandatory there. Jaeger Dorulu and Atler Ballista. They're 3Os because they're 5, so it makes it a little bit more awkward to utilize in like Raptor Sparrow, for example. Nor are they consistency boosters, but you want to see the pieces often enough for, you know, EX6 purposes. Atler Ballista, the effect is very niche in the sense that like it's an on-play when digivolving, so like, and it's only for like bot decking purposes, or bot decking bouncing purposes, so it's only for specific matchups, and you kind of have to commit like quite a bit for it. But this is the only 5 that Zeke Greymon is actually able to evolve over, so like do keep that in mind. And Jaeger Dorulu, I actually use this effect like pretty often. What I would often do is I would go Raptor Sparrow, and then I would evolve Jaeger Dorulu. By evolving Jaeger Dorulu, I could tag like Medieval Gallantmon to disable its Wind Digivolving, and then I could slam my EX6, and because I disabled the Wind Digivolving on the Medieval Gallant, it can't actually interact with me, so that I can like go crazy. Medieval Gallant is actually very annoying for you to deal with, so like having the Jaeger Dorulu to disable that is like really strong. Not only that, but this is also your only tool against like problematic aces, because EX6 is minus like 6 if you have everything, and then Shooting Star is like minus 3, so it's only minus 9. So if they have like a possible like level 7 ace threat, you can't efficiently clear that before they get the opportunity to ace. So that's why cards like Jaeger Dorulu are like really important. So oftentimes I find myself like Evo Jaeger Dorulu on like a stack that I've prepared, knowing that they're gonna try and like ace lock me, and then I'll like cross afterward, right? Or like after like I disable their Wind Digivolving, I'll swing the Jaeger, because like if it dies, then like I can just save the piece, and then I'll cross, right? So both of these are really good, very flexible, and this is like it's here because like it has to be here, and like in certain matchups this will probably save you, but again it's like certain matchups, and blue's not exactly like in the greatest of spots right now, aka Mirage, because Medieval Gallantmon and just like Ward Rel X and all that kind of like farm. They kind of just farm you. Like, it's plain and simple. 4 EX6 Shout and 3 Zeeg. Which I want to call it Zeke because like I watched the anime, but like I know in English it's Zeeg, but you know. For obvious reasons, this is your boss card. This is important to have. No reason not to play 4. And Zeeg, it's the one piece that's not searchable, so you have to play at least 3, because you can't grab it off of the Taiki. So because you can't grab it off of Taiki, you have to like kind of either find it with a Raptor Sparrow or you have to like raw draw into it. So be mindful of that. The Zeeg, you can only evolve into Zeeg off of Atler as well, so also be mindful. But with EX6, so what makes EX6 really strong, and it's like actually a really good boss card, it's Alliance, Reboot, Material Save 4 on play for every color and use Digimon source, minus 1k to your opponent's entire board for the turn, so it's like a pseudo ruin. And then if you have all the components, it's like minus 6. And then you play out Shooting Star, and then Shooting Star, when you play out Shooting Star, it's on play, whenever a cross art is played, minus 3 to one of your opponent's Digimon and sec minus 1. So because the Shooting Star sees itself, it's like a minus 9 to one target and then minus 6 to everything else. And then when attacking, you also pop a Digimon with as much or less DP, so you do pop possible ace threats, which is really good. And then because of the collision and then the alliance, you swing for like 19, and you also get piercing off of the Jaeger Dorulu. So you clear wide, you pop a body off of the when attacking, and then you collision as something else, and then you pierce. So yeah, really, really good boss card. And then the card from BT20 that kind of changed the dynamic of this deck and made it as good as it is, in my opinion, is Volder Arm. And let me just like, I picked up 2 alt arts because like I actually think Volder Arm is like the best card in the entire 2.5 set, TBH. And that's like, I can get into that another day, but Volder Arm is like insane. So Volder Arm salvages a lot of your matchups. It makes a lot of your matchups a lot easier because not only does it stun boards, it stuns Tamers, it gains memory. And so what makes Volder Arm super insane, is specifically in this deck, is because all of its effects are not tied to Win Digivolving. So it's like Win Evo, right? So mind you, EX6, right, is red, yellow, black. What does Volder Arm evolve over? Yellow, yellow, green, right? And let me just like, can I kind of like focus? Oh wait, ooh, it's upside down, but let me see. Focus. There we go. Yeah. Okay, so yellow, green, right? So because it's yellow, green, that means you can evolve over the EX6. And one of the components for EX6, as you know, is Zeeg. Zeeg is a level 6 blue-black. What do you partition into? Well, you partition into yellow and then in green or black. So if you have Cross 6 with Zeeg, right, and then you evolve into Volder, then not only do you get 2 instances of the Volder effect, so you gain back 2 memories to spend 2 things, but if the Volder ever gets removed, you cheat out both EX6 as well as Zeeg, which is so powerful, because Zeeg is a D-Digivolve possible bounce, and then EX6, I mean, they just like randomly minus 6 their board, you know? And then not only have they just invested removal into trying to get rid of the Volder, but now they have to remove double 6. Or else like you threaten like another Volder, or you just push damage, etc. And then Volder's also a 2-checker, so it's also really great for pushing damage. So because of Volder, I think the dynamic of the deck changed significantly and made it a lot more practical into the actual format. And so on paper, you would think that Purple Hybrid, which is in my opinion like the best deck in the format right now, would be a lot easier to deal with, which it does make it a lot easier to deal with, but the issue with that is that you just get milled out because you're literally playing a rainbow deck. So that matchup still kind of sucks, but you know, for what it's worth, Volder actually goes insane because it gives you like a sticky presence, it gives you pressure, it just does a lot for you. Okay, so next we have our Tamer lineup. So we play 4 Taiki, and one of them is the Altar Box Topper because I pulled it, so I didn't have to pay for it. And then we play the 4 White Tamer, and we play 1 Nene, who's General Twilight, by the way, not Crossheart. So for obvious reasons, consistency booster, memory tamer that also works with trash. So because of Raptor Sparrow is check top 3, add 1, trash the rest. So sometimes you'll trash a necessary piece. You'll have 2 pieces that you need, and you can only grab 1, the other one goes to trash. And then Nene can pick it up for you. So it's really good. There are certain matchups where like you want the guaranteed 3 memory as well, so Nene is really good there. And then with these cards, I mean, they're just consistency boosters. This is basically grab 2 for 3 cost. This is constant gain 1 memory, draw 1 cycle every single turn. I think there's a world where like you can go like +1 Nene, but for the most part, 4 White Tamer is just really strong. And then BT21, when we get new Taiki, you use like throw this to the wayside and just play 4 new Taiki. So for now, you're running White Tamer. And then our option lineup, we play 3 Meteor Rock Soul and then 3 Sepia. Meteor Rock Soul is very self-explanatory. Not only does it play out your Cross Art Digimon with 4,000 or less DP, so it plays out both the Shout as well as the Sparrow, which like you play out Sparrow, like it's whatever, because it is tied to when attacking. But the important part is you play out the Shoutmon, because if you play out the Shoutmon for 3 cost, then you can evolve into Omni Shout for 0, and then you can pop something and you can swing out. So if you're playing against like Psychmon decks, then you can use Meteor Rock Soul for 3, go into Shout, go into Omni Shout, pop whatever, swing Omni Shot because it has rush off of the Shoutmon effect, and then you can go off of that. And then not only that, but you can also use this to attack twice, or to attack again with your EX6. But the only caveat is that you have to unsuspend both a Shooting Star as well as an EX6, so if you only have one and not the other, then you're shit out of luck. So do that. This is like one of your game enders, and this is also the only tool we have to deal with Galamon, because Galamon is immune during your turn, so you have to pass the memory threshold over. So by using this, we can pass the memory over to then attack with this, because this forces an attack if you want. And then once you do that, then Galamon is then susceptible to all your effects, and then you can actually remove the Galan X stack. But without this card, you actually just instant lose to like Galan X. It's really bad. And then Sepia, this literally grabs every single card in the deck except Uko and like for obvious reasons your Tamers and options. But otherwise, this is just really good. It's a great consistency booster. This is something Crossheart has been wanting for a very long time. You know, some kind of equivalent. Now that we're like duo colors, like it's even better. But for obvious, you know, because like if we're back in like monocolor land, then like we can't do that. But yeah, Sepia, memory is really great for you to extend your plays. It's a consistency booster. It's just like good. So yeah, that is the Crossheart deck profile. I did not think I would drag this on for almost 20 minutes, but I did because I literally cannot stop yapping. And again, convinced undiagnosed ADHD at this point. But yeah, so this deck I think is actually really good. I think in a world where the ban list is like actually strong, it's like a good ban list, and like you hit Purple Hybrid, I think this deck can do really well. Purple Hybrid I think is like the only deck that actually like prevents this from like being like really good in my opinion, just because like you're constantly getting milled out and like there's not a lot you can do about that, and because your damage mapping is so awkward, you can't put them on a clock as like fast as you would want before they can put you on a clock hypothetically. So like do keep that in mind. They will outrace you unless you have Volder Arm, but if you go Volder Arm, then they can just mill you out, so like it sucks. But in a world where Purple Hybrid gets hit, then like I think this deck is like really, really strong. There are a couple of things that you can also consider when you're building this deck. For example, you can consider running Mega Digimon Assembly, which is the like the new age MDF from EX6, and that card is really good because then what you can do is if you have it's a white option that if your opponent has a 6 or higher, you can ignore the color requirement, but like you have White Tamer, so like you're fine anyway. So if you have like Shout with like Zeeg underneath, and then you have like a Zeeg in hand, and you have like Volder in hand, and you go like Mega Digimon Assembly, you can go into Volder, tuck another Zeeg, and then get like 3 procs of a Volder effect, and that's like kind of nifty. And then you get like the +2 from both Zeegs, and then like whenever this dies, you just like spit out 2. So yeah, MDA, you can use that as like an attack extender, because the issue with Volder Jogress normally is that for obvious reasons you need both on the board, and so like how often are you having both of these actually on the board? The answer is like almost never. So with MDA, you can then do it, you can go into Volder Arm for 1 cost, because it's a 4 cost option that like 1 memory, 2 memory, 3 memory, so like if you have all this, it's a 1 cost attack enabler, like an attack extender. So sometimes if you put your opponent to 0 security and you need that last hit, then like the MDA can actually be really good for that. Another card that you can also consider running is Omnimon X from BT 20, which I have it like literally right here, so like for reference purposes, right? Omni X. So because it goes over red as well, and EX6 is red, you can like do your like double swing or whatever. You can like swing for 2 checks, and then you can evolve Omni X, and then Omni X can swing while suspended for game. So the MDA and the Omni X kind of act as like that finisher, but neither of them are searchable, which is really awkward. and neither are consistency booster, and so that's kind of like why I opted for the Uko instead, because the Uko hypothetically gives you like that extra chip damage that should swing the math in your favor. It's also a consistency booster for like rookie count, so that's why I just opted for Uko. But I think MDA or Omni X are also both really solid additions if you want to go down that route. But yeah, okay, and I did in fact make it to 20 minutes because again I yapped way too long. So yeah, that is everything I have for the Crossheart profile. If you liked the way this was done, which again I think is literally just me rambling on, let me know down in the comments below. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to be trying to upload a lot of content now that 2.5 is out in America, or out in English, and we're approaching the merge with Asia, which is super exciting. Very excited for that. I'm so hyped for BT21 whenever that drops, because that's what my regional, I'm going to Dallas, is going to be based on. So yeah, thank you for watching, and be sure to check out the Hoang Zero Discord as well as my Patreon. Peace.